Welcome to Spring Trends on WSTV. This is where we talk about everything trending, what is trending, who is trending, where they are trending, and reactions on social media. My name is Evelyn Ohiolei, and you know what I always tell you, that do not stop making your voice heard wherever, whatever platform, whether on Twitter, that's X right now, formerly Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. Keep those comments coming in and let the people at the ends of affairs know what you make of the different situation, albeit very civil. I do not do this alone. Tunde Idowu is right by my side. Welcome, Tunde. How are you?
Very well.
Okay, so let's get right to it. At this time, we hear that the federal government has placed end bad governance sponsors on watch list. These persons who are in diaspora would be arrested immediately. They step their legs on Nigerian soil. Nigerians have reacted to this. Collins Okpara at I am Collins Okpara on X says, instead of addressing the glaring issues that prompted the end bad governance movement in the first place, the government decides to go after those who dared to speak up. This heavy-handed approach is outrageous and does nothing but stifle dissent and silence critics. Fix the problems. Do not punish the people demanding change. Pure Stanley, that's Pure Stanley 1 says the federal government should arrest hunger, hardship, bad roads, bad governance, and insecurity because they are the ones sponsoring the End Bad Governance protest. Tinubu should arrest the people I mentioned and watch the protest disappear. I mean, I love how Pure Stanley puts it. If there's anyone you should arrest, these are the set of, people or things or whatever situation you should arrest. It says hunger, hardship, bad governance,
Absolutely.
bad roads, and insecurity. And Kenny Mo says, rather than addressing the main issue on the ground, the federal government decided to do otherwise, and the sudden move to place a watch list of the non-existing protest sponsors can only be attributed to the fact that the government is no longer responsible to the people. It's now an offense to speak. And Umwang, I hope I got that correctly, says, freedom of speech and assembly are human rights. This move is a clear attempt to silence dissenting voices. Is this a democratic government or a dictatorship? This is clear abuse of power. Tunde, what do you think?
You can see me, my head bowed. It's just, it's not the right approach by the government at all. And just like Pure Stanley said there, the certain things that should be arrested are those certain things. Hunger, bad roads, in spite of insecurity. All these should be the ones to be concerned in the hearts of the government, not people. It's a fundamental right. We should do this as long as it's going to be peaceful. But probably it's still, because we are still very far away from full-blown democracy, I would say, full-blown democracy where you have the right to say your mind, express yourself. Because I quickly will just take us back to when former president of the United States, Donald Trump, was president. I know how one of the cable stations were always speaking the odd things about him, and he never said, "Go and shut that station down." Yeah. And there's that thing. But who can do that here in Nigeria? But it's not. The federal government should actually focus on other things and forget this aspect of putting those people on watch list.
And this federal government led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is been touted as a big Democrat. And, in the 1990s, he was said to be one of the movement proponents of democracy. So what is happening now that he's at the end of affairs?
It's a big thing, just like the popular saying that once you're still poor or you still live in poverty, you probably act sensibly with so much of humility because you are looking at one day somewhere. But once you are able to get your first set of millions, you forget those things.
Let me say it in Nigerian pidgin. If you like say the way Tunde they talk, you know enter where your real character they show when money come. You see all those one when you dey humble. When you pour, when money come, we go know who you really be. So that's what he's trying to say. Honestly. All right, let me switch back to who I am right now this evening. Let's move to our next story this morning. This morning, we hear that Nigerians need to grow. The Minister of Finance is speaking to us. Nigerians need to grow, produce, and harvest their own foods. If they do that, inflation will come down. Exchange rates will stabilize. That's coming from the Minister of Finance. And Al Mustafa is asking the Minister of Finance, Wale Adun, Binance isn't the issue again. I mean, there was a time that there was a crackdown on Binance and all the crypto world and all of that, saying that if probably if we're able to arrest that, our economy will come back to boom, but it seems it's not the case. Abdul Rashid Ajia says, ask Nigerians to farm their way out of inflation, but ignore the kidnappings, attacks, and killings they face. Security comes first, then stability. Daniel Regamagai says, ask the Nigerian government provided security for farmers who grow, produce, and harvest their own foods, or even bother to enforce a price regulation system? No. FG has done none of this, but the Minister of Finance obviously chose to ignore that. The kind of leaders we have is shameful. Let me just take your reaction very quickly.
And it's just going to be very simple. Security comes first, stability will definitely follow. Let them address the aspect of security. Every other thing falls in place. All
right, my last story this morning. It's about Nigeria Air. We are hearing issues on the Nigerian Air come forward. Nigeria's Air is nothing but a sham, airline operators say. Valencia Cute say the truth is finally unveiled after several banters and insults online from APC folks on the defense to the obvious reality. Emmanuel Alalibo Johnson S. says a country that someone hired another country's plane to scammers, yet nothing happened. Keme says the fact that the former minister and those around him are still yet to be arrested for misleading the Nigerian people, and the government says a lot about this administration and the country as a whole. And Matthew Olanipekun says, official EFCC, what happened to Sirika? Have you cleared him? If yes, why? And on what basis? We would like to know, as a concerned citizen, how the taxpayers' money was spent anyhow. Your thoughts?
What a big one here, because we remember the last few days of the last administration led by former President Muhammadu Buhari, where the former aviation minister came from nowhere. That here we are, and we were like, eventually Nigeria got something, but not knowing that such a very, I would say it was a dastardly act for anyone to have fooled over 200 Nigerians at that period. And it's still what we have here. And just as we started when we began this program for today, that this distrust, only God knows if it can ever leave the hearts of Nigerians. And I keep saying two things. If two things can be taken off from us here, from those in power, and from everybody in general, this aspect of distrust and corruption, if it can be nailed in the board, I feel we'll probably have a better Nigeria.
All right, and that's where we pull the brakes. We didn't have enough time today, but it's fine. We're still able to make use of what we have. Thank you so much for joining Spring Trends this Wednesday morning. We'll make a return for another interesting time tomorrow, which is Thursday. Thank you, Tunde, for coming on board, and to you, our esteemed viewers, for being a part of our world. Until tomorrow, have for yourself a productive day. Bye.